Welcome to Right on the Mark with your host, Mark Young. Today we're going to talk about guitar strumming. As a kid, I was always fascinated by guitars. Go see bands, watch them on TV, see live bands with my family, outdoor concerts, just school bands. Just anywhere I would see a band, I would like to go watch them. I liked music at the time. There wasn't much to do with TV, as there was only 4 or 5 channels back in the day, but radio, more stations on radio definitely, so you could listen to a lot more music. Some of the music that I listened to was probably pop, rap, a little bit of country, not much, but I was always fascinated by the person playing the guitar. Some of the guitars that I played on were electric and acoustic. My first acoustic guitar my mom bought me, I was probably at the age of 7 or 8. And she knew a friend of hers that would come over and teach guitar. So she signed me up for once a week lessons, about an hour. And his name, I'll call him Mr. S. Mr. S would come over for an hour and he would bring over his sheet music, and he would recommend everything that I would need for my guitar. He'd say, I need a stand, I need some original sheet music, I need a strap for the guitar, probably need a case to put my guitar in, and so on. He would say a lot of care goes into the guitar. The more you take care of your guitar, the better it's going to play. I do remember him saying that. After my first lesson, one of the funny things was I actually sat on my guitar, which my mom and Mr. S kind of thought was pretty funny. They're like, no, you do not sit on your guitar after you play on it. But I always thought it was fun to sit on. Made me a little taller on the couch. But anyway, he'd come into my house from like 6 to 7 at night, and we would sometimes play a duet. He would go over the sheet music with me. He would teach me how to string my guitar. He would teach me how to tune my guitar. He would teach me different ways to strum the guitar with a pick, without a pick, and different ways of holding it with a strap. And then I moved up to the electric guitar phase, which I thought was really cool just because it sounded a heck of a lot better. We had a small amplifier. It had a cord that plugged right into the guitar. I actually have that guitar. I just can't seem to find the amplifier, which I thought would be kind of cool just to show off, again, my skills of playing the guitar. So I would practice probably a half an hour to an hour a day, and then he would come an hour once a week, and I would improve. And this probably went on for maybe a year, maybe a little less than a year. I just lost interest after a while, but I signed up for a year, and I wanted to stick it out, even though I knew that I wasn't that good. I thought I would get better. One of the things that I remember is playing the same song over and over. My mom would say, wow, he's getting really good. But it was only one song. So as time went on, I would play different songs. I would play in front of groups. I remember going to the old Jefferson High School, which is no longer there, near Knox Avenue. And I would play with a bunch of older people. They were probably in their 20s. And, I was probably 9 or 10. I was the youngest kid there. And I would join in on their jam sessions, as they'd call it. To this day, I don't know any of their names. I just remember them being really old, and they must have played in maybe some local club bands at the time. But I just liked going in there strumming, and that was also once a week that we would play. But I think I only went there maybe 2 or 3 times just to strum with them. Then I kind of felt out of my comfort zone just due to the fact that I was younger, and I really wasn't playing up to par the way they were playing. So I felt like I was just joining the group, blending in, and just strumming my guitar. Speaking of guitars, so a few years back, I ran into my guitar in the basement while cleaning out. And I said to myself, I think I'm going to take this and see if it's still tuned and see if I could strum a few notes. Well, I couldn't find the stand, I couldn't find the sheet music, I couldn't find my amplifier, but I did have my guitar, so I did bust it out and play with it, only to find out that I had one string broken. So it's kind of hard to play a guitar with only 5 of the strings instead of 6. So what happened was I would just strum around and I'm like, this isn't good. I need to find another guitar. So I come across another guitar. So after searching for another guitar that I thought I had, I came across my old acoustic guitar. It had all the strings attached. And I'm like, oh, I don't really remember this guitar, but I must have played it. It's mine. So I brought it upstairs and I took it out of the box and I started strumming it. I did have to YouTube how to play it again because, again, I didn't have the sheet music. I didn't have the stand. I didn't have everything I had as a kid growing up. I didn't even have the strap to put it around me. But the guitar was out of tune, so I needed to get it back in tune. So I had to go back online and see what the chords were actually called. And to my surprise, I remembered some of them. Didn't remember everything, all the frets and the chords and the letters and things of that nature. But it was really fun. I picked it up for maybe a few days and I started strumming on it. And then my son Logan came up to me and go, "Dad, what is that?" I go, "It's my old guitar that I used to play as a kid." It's like, "Really? That's your guitar as a kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, I used to play guitar." So I got into the whole story with my son and he kind of felt interested in it. And he's like, "Wow, do you mind if I give it a shot?" I said, "No, here you go. No, knock yourself out." Thinking that, oh, he's probably going to be bored with it as I was. And I stopped after a couple years as a kid. I only brought it up due to nostalgia right now. So I'm like, well, I'll just go ahead and hand it over to my son Logan and see what he had to do with it. I'm like, oh, he's never actually played guitar. He's never actually played an instrument. He hasn't played in a band. So I'm like, I'll give it to him just to see what he could do with it. So I'd like to introduce to you my son Logan, who's going to tell you a little bit about his experience on playing the guitar. Logan?
So this was about like the summer of 2016. So at the time I was really starting to get into music. At the time I was really only into rap music. But I came across this band, 21 Pilots, and I really just loved them instantly. And 21 Pilots is not a guitar-based band, so I tried to opt for the piano, if anything. But they gave me a piano for my birthday. Then I started getting into guitar music, like bands like Paramore and Panic at the Disco. Still some of my favorite bands. But yeah, that's what made me want to pick up the guitar. And really, it's just history from there. I call myself an intermediate guitar player. So I guess I only have like advice for beginners. Some advice I would have is be aware that it like hurts. It hurts. I didn't know that when I started playing guitar. For like the first 2 days, it was nothing but pain. It was very painful. Then you get used to it. Then you get the calluses formed on your fingers, and that helps a lot. Now they're like permanent. And I started learning through this app called Musician that I put on my computer. And I'm glad I did that because that's what really taught me the basics. Nowadays, I don't even use it because I feel like I can just learn the songs. And I didn't really learn any songs that I wanted to learn on that app. So I still don't know how to read sheet music like what you said.
Thanks, Logan. I always wondered how that started with you. I know you practiced and played a lot, and you struggled in the beginning. I thought you might have even given it up after a while, but I remember hearing you play, and you would force yourself to play, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of myself because I really didn't want to play. My mom made me play, and I knew Mr. S, the teacher, would be coming over, so I better play, and I always felt bad that he would come over and there wouldn't be any improvement. And then one time he actually said to me, he said, "Mark, let's call it a night because you're frustrated and I'm frustrated." And I'm like, "That's great. That's fine. We could always do that." So Logan, I feel your struggles. I see what you're going through. I'm glad to see you're sticking with it, right? Are you still playing?
Not as much as I used to. I think I would play it like daily for, I don't know how long. It was just as long as I felt like playing that day. But, it's just like a hobby, so I don't really focus on it. If I still did it like every day, I bet I'd be more advanced, really. But yeah, something else I did want to say though is that it kind of did like teach me to like stick with stuff. That if you put enough work, I think if you put enough work into really anything, it will just work out in the end, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's true. Recently, you had helped with your grandmother and grandfather's 60th wedding anniversary, and you had played a song during the flashbacks, pictures, the slideshows that we were showing. And one thing I did notice is there wasn't one mistake, and it was probably a 5 or 6 minute video, which was really nice. And my understanding is you did start out with acoustic, right? And then you did some research, and then you found some electric guitars. Do you remember the name of the electric guitars and how that process went of buying it and researching it?
Well, yeah, I did start off with the acoustic guitar. Then I just obviously listened to a lot of rock bands, so I wanted the electric guitar bad. They don't always play acoustic, and it's hard to play electric songs on acoustic. But I eventually got the Fender Strat. Not necessarily that's why I was between that and like the Gibson Les Paul. Kind of looking back on it now, I almost kind of wish I got the Les Paul because that's more suited to the play style I like, I think. But I just ordered it online. I didn't go to like a guitar store or anything.
Now, this app that you talked about that taught you how to play, did it teach you how to play with like a pick or just your fingers? Or what style? Like, was it a beginner or intermediate app that you learned from?
Well, it started off, it was just like the pick, as always, just the pick. And then like it showed you the section called like finger style.
Oh.
It's something like that. And where you just learn to play your finger. Oh, now that you play your ukulele, Dad.
Yes, I'm partial to the ukulele.
No, I would suggest maybe if you're not too sure about playing guitar, like start off playing the ukulele. It's so much easier, way less painful. It's just overall better, more kind to beginners.
So how many instruments do you have? How many guitars and ukuleles do you have? Do you have stands? Where do you keep them at? Like, how do you keep them all preserved?
I have one acoustic guitar and one electric. Didn't want to really buy more than that considering I don't do this all the time and I'm not in a band still. But I guess 4 instruments. I have one acoustic guitar, one electric guitar, 2 ukuleles, and I have a keyboard.
Nice. So I know you're going back to school in a few weeks. Do you think you'll be taking anything with you to just keep it up, to pass some time around, to relieve some stress? Do you take a guitar, your keyboard, and how does that work out playing in your dorm room?
I take the acoustic guitar. It's just easier. You obviously can't bring the electric guitar. Like they won't even allow us to have speakers in the dorms. So it wouldn't even work with the electric. But I guess I could bring the ukulele and keyboard, but that'd be just really awkward to set up in the room. So,
but we could always look at that. I mean, with your new roommate coming in, he might be into instruments. Maybe he plays a guitar. Maybe he plays something else. You never know. That's the best part about college is
maybe
the great unknown.
I usually don't try to play the guitar when they're there because my first roommate, my freshman year, I almost felt like sometimes he was annoyed when I played it, so I really just try to not play it when they're there. That also cuts into like me not being able to play guitar all the time.
Yeah.
So
now, walking around campus and walking the halls, do you ever see people that just play in the lobby, play outside? People get together like just for fun as a group. Do you ever see like that? Do you ever think of like maybe playing outside of your room just because it's a cooler area and you don't feel like you're annoying anyone?
No, I feel like I'd be annoying more people if I did that. And like it's never, nobody's just out there playing guitar for a random reason. It's just like organized events that people are singing and playing guitar. Like there's an organized event down in the lobby where that happens.
Oh, I see. So the type of school that you're at, is it a musical school or a theatrical school? Like what type of instruments do you see people playing there? Is it something that you'd be interested to get in a group that would play practice band or something like that? Or that there's just not that there?
Well, from what I've seen, I haven't really seen that there. I know bands are started there, but like I don't even see them, and I wouldn't even know who plays any instruments. I've seen people. Well, you don't really learn music there. You don't really go to learn music there. It's just like they'll offer, I think, like singing lessons and like musical theory. I think that's like a requirement for dancers, the music theory class.
Oh, nice. Well, that was a good little background history on you, Logan. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Now
I'm being
the
kicked
lovely...
out.
Oh, no, you could stay with me. But funny thing, the lovely Kim is walking by, and she's motioning like something isn't exactly accurate. And here we go again.
Surprise, huh? I think I heard you say something about finding an acoustic guitar downstairs or something.
Yeah, my acoustic guitar that I found.
Yeah, that was my guitar.
What?
That's my guitar.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No.
I played guitar whenever I was younger too. I didn't have like showcases with, old 20-year-olds.
Oh, you didn't? Jeez.
No, but I did try to play the guitar. I don't think I mean, it didn't last very long. I just remember that I really wanted a guitar so bad. And I told my mother, I think it was on Christmas Eve, that I wanted a guitar for Christmas. And she freaked out because she had to try to hurry up and
Find a guitar.
Find a guitar for me. And she did. But it didn't last very long. I think that my hands are too small to actually play the guitar.
Yeah, I have the same problem. But yeah.
That's not true. I will tell you guys that's not true.
Really?
Why is that? What do you mean?
It doesn't even matter if you have small hands.
Oh.
Like, kids can play guitars. I mean, like, there are kid guitars to play for that. These two are just giving reasons why they gave up. Honestly,
no, it wasn't.
Don't
it
listen
was
to
a
them.
child's guitar. It was a small guitar, but I don't know. I guess I just couldn't do it.
Anyway, since we're talking about reclaiming what's yours, can I really just tell nobody that's listening that this is my podcast? I've done everything on here. I've edited everything. Now he's giving me the cut sign.
He's the Logan Young rant? No, we're not ranting here. Thank you, lovely Kim, for correcting my story as usual.
This is
What
my
are wives
microphone.
for?
This is